Drop the knife, release the hostage, don't make another mistake. The voice quality was as bad as a $2 street vendor's megaphone. Everyone's eyes were fixed on me. Even now, I couldn't believe it. I had escaped from prison and taken a hostage. Yesterday marked my first month in prison. On the way to forced labor, someone intentionally shoved me, causing me to fall and lose a tooth. I spat out a mouthful of blood, listening to the surrounding jeers, and grabbed the dazed, chubby guy next to me. Let's go. Hwago, why are they treating you like this? Chubby had only been in prison for a few days. On his first night, he got beaten up by the cell boss, and I stepped in to stop it. Since then, he became my little follower. In truth, I held no real status in prison, nor did I have any dignity. If prisoners were ranked, I would be in the second to last tier, just slightly better than the lowest tier of rapists. I looked at the misty sky and earnestly told Chubby, "Remember this, Chubby. This tooth was lost for you." Chubby's gratitude was evident on his face, dumb and naive. This wasn't mere politeness. Chubby truly wasn't very bright. He had a mental issue. He got tricked into joining a telecom scam, only to be scammed himself, revealing his home address during the con. With Chubby's help, the entire scam operation got busted. But looking at him, I couldn't help but think of someone. A woman. Suddenly, I realized I couldn't spend my best years rotting in this prison. In the dead of night, I fished out a hard-earned pebble from my pocket, ready to swallow it. Who are you? It was Chubby. He was afraid of getting beaten again tonight, so he squeezed into my bed. 2 men, 1 small bed. Half my body was hanging off the edge, feeling awkward. My right hand returned the precious pebble to my pocket. Are you asleep, Hwaga? Yes. I can't sleep. I'm not used to it. That's normal. Can you tell me a story? When I couldn't sleep as a kid, my mom would tell me stories. Do I look like your mom? Chubby whined. Hwaga, how did you end up here? Fine, I'll tell you a story, but you can't bother me after. Have you ever encountered a ghost while walking on a rainy night? I once did, while driving on the national highway. A black shadow suddenly flashed in front of my car's headlights, startling me. I slammed on the brakes, almost flinging myself out of the car. With a thud, the car came to a halt. I was sure I had hit something. That night, the rain was torrential, the wipers going crazy. I had been driving for over 30 hours heading into the mountains and was already a bit dazed. But I was in a hurry, ready to reverse and go around. Just then, in the rainy night, the car stalled. As I struggled to restart it, something, like an animal, climbed onto the hood of my car using both hands and feet. If the car had started, I would have floored it and sped off. But now, under the headlights, I found myself locking eyes with whatever was on my windshield. Only then did I see clearly it wasn't a ghost. It was a person, a woman covered in blood and mud. She seemed to be trying to extort me, refusing to get off the hood. I wasn't going to drive around with a person hanging off my car, so I had to get out and deal with this. Just my luck. The woman turned out to be an idiot. She didn't even realize I had hit her, smiling at me foolishly. The rain washed away the blood on her face, revealing dark eyes and a clear, young face. Calling her a woman might be too much. She was a girl, about 12 or 13 years old. There were a few villages nearby. She might have run up from one of them, onto the national highway from a side road. I didn't want any trouble, but I couldn't leave a girl on a rainy highway either. After a brief hesitation, I carried her to the back seat of my car and drove onto the side road, going door to door asking if anyone had lost a child. But the whole night yielded nothing but angry villagers awakened by my questions and the girl's idiotic grin from the back seat. As dawn approached, I lost patience. I dragged the girl out of the back seat, planning to leave her in the village. At least there would be people around to help her. But as soon as I got back in the car, she clung to the door, refusing to let me leave. Hungry. That was the first word she said. I looked at her, filthy and in ragged clothes, sleeves too long, stained with blood and dirt. It seemed she was determined to stick with me. I thought I might as well take her to town for a meal and then drop her off at the police station. That would be the decent thing to do. She surprised me with how much she could eat, downing 15 baskets of soup dumplings and still not full. Both the restaurant owner and I were stunned. "Do you always eat this much?" She looked at me, smiling foolishly. "More." I wiped her face with a napkin. "Do you have any family?" I wasn't sure if she understood, but she shook her head. Her face, cleaned of dirt, took me by surprise. She might have traded her intelligence for her looks, with delicate features and eyes as clear as a stream by the countryside. She wasn't the cheap kind of pretty you see on social media, but the refreshing beauty of a country breeze, touching the heart. Compared to her, those internet celebrities were nothing. Suddenly, I didn't want to abandon this simple-minded orphan. Like a talent scout, I saw her potential. "Do you want to follow me? If you stick with me, there will be plenty of good food every day." "Do you like that girl?" I turned over, almost pushing me off the bed. "What's going on in that head of yours?" "Actually, who knows what's in his head? I just think she might bring me a glimmer of hope." "What kind of hope?" "Who are you? I am hungry." I felt the pebble in my pocket and thought how foolish I was to seriously explain things to an idiot. I had been secretly grinding that pebble for a month, smoothing the edges until it was as sharp as a blade. Lost in thought, I accidentally cut my hand. I winced and pulled the pebble from my pocket. "Hwaga, I'm really hungry." "Bear with it." Blood trickled down. Damn. When they made me do scams, they promised I'd never go hungry, but I was always starving. I didn't want to do it anymore, but they wouldn't let me leave and kept a constant watch on me. At least I had a phone back then. When I got hungry, I'd watch mukbang videos. Watching those people eat made me feel a bit less hungry. The pebble, stained with a faint touch of blood, rolled between my fingers. I grew more excited as he spoke. I used to love watching Zhao Daoi's mukbangs. She was so popular, could eat so much, and looked pretty too. She'd eat pig slop, raw meat, drink chili water, eyes and nose streaming, but she'd down it all in one go. Really amazing. Pig slop, raw meat, chili water. Are those even things people eat? Lots of people love watching that. I suddenly paused. In the moonlight, I saw his eyes, predatory like a wolf spotting prey. "Hwaga, is that food in your hand?" Before I could react, I sprang up, snatched the pebble from my hand, and shoved it into his mouth. He was much stronger than I had imagined. This entire sequence happened right before my eyes, leaving me dumbfounded. I even doubted if his throat was constructed like a normal person's. He swallowed the pebble without any trouble, then looked at me innocently. Not tasty, no flavor. Rage surged through me. I had spent a whole month grinding it down to a swallowable size. Finding a small pebble here was so difficult. Every day, I lived in fear, painstakingly cautious. All my hopes since I got here, my only chance to leave this prison, had just been swallowed by this idiot. I wanted to kill him. I couldn't control my hand, and I punched Fei in the head. And then, the entire prison woke up, watching us brawl. No one stepped in. They even laughed, enjoying the infighting. Stupid fatso. Beat that trafficker to death. Nothing I hate more than someone who traffics women. If you're so capable, why not just rob? It's disgusting being locked up with scum like that. The more I fought, the angrier I got, almost losing control. I punched him more than a dozen times, but he just looked at me and laughed, not even dodging. What an idiot. The guards rushed over at the commotion. Just as they were about to separate us, I suddenly punched my left arm. All I did was eat a pebble. "I'm hungry. Why are you hitting me?" His words caused an uproar, but then the entire room fell silent. My bone was broken. He had fractured my left arm with that punch. He had that much strength, but when he got beaten, he never fought back. Today he decided to hit me. If I didn't kill him, I'd... Forget it, killing is illegal. At least, having taken that punch, I had earned myself a trip to the hospital. In the police car, it was me, Fei, and 3 officers, driving through the night along the national highway, heading to the city hospital. I clutched my arm, gazing out the window. Everything felt like a dream. The rainy night, this road, scenes replaying in my mind, evoking a mix of emotions. But now wasn't the time for sentimentality, because my stomach suddenly hurt. I clutched my stomach and pleaded, "I have a stomach ache. I need to, go." "Hold it in." Sweat from the pain in my arm trickled down my forehead. I really can't hold it. Just bear with it." "I can't, man. If I go in the car, it's on you." The officer gave me a disgusted look, pressing my right arm behind my back. "Fine. Let's go to the field by the rural road. I'll watch you. No funny business." Fei-Zai, clutching his own stomach, suddenly screamed, "My stomach hurts. I need to go too." Fei-Zai had been given laxatives after swallowing the pebble, so his need was understandable. But now, with both of us raising a fuss, the officers were wary. Still, with one idiot and one injured, it didn't seem like much of a threat. So there we were, Fei-Zai and I, squatting in a field, our bare butts exposed, under the watchful eyes of 3 officers. It was humiliating. Every shred of human dignity was stripped away. I closed my eyes, trying not to think about those 6 eyes. Suddenly, screams and the sound of 3 heavy thuds broke the silence. What happened to Fei-Zai? I opened my eyes wide, quickly stood up, and couldn't even bother to pull up my pants. In my line of sight, there was only Fei-Zai. Fei-Zai, sweating and grinning foolishly, pulled a pebble from his pants pocket with his cuffed hand. It was hurting me. I was stunned. Fei-Zai handed the pebble to me. "Hua-ge, am I amazing or what? When I saw that pebble, I knew what you were planning. You helped me, so I had to help you. How was my acting?" I was completely dumbfounded. On the ground lay 3 unconscious officers. I wanted to escape the prison, and I had my plans, but attacking officers was never part of it. I didn't want to commit another crime. But attacking officers, no matter how you look at it, this situation screams premeditated escape. Whether we ran or stayed, there was no way to explain this clearly. "Hua-ge, everyone thinks I'm dumb, but you never did." I didn't think Fei-Zai was dumb at all. He was now searching the officers for the keys to our handcuffs. "Hua-ge, help me unlock these." Clever Fei-Zai found the keys. I was confused. "Why unlock them?" Fei-Zai grinned. "I'll follow you. I can do anything. I'm really strong. I can crush a chicken with one hand." I took down these 3 with just my head. I watched the blood trickle down his forehead and nodded. He was truly wasted on telecom fraud. But I was suddenly very angry. You're this strong, yet you let those scumbags beat you up until you were bleeding and never fought back. You think this is a game? Fei-Zai looked at me with that innocent, foolish expression. My mom said I'm too strong. I could kill someone if I fight back. But you lost a tooth for me. How could I not help you? Family. What was I supposed to do with this idiot? I've never been able to handle idiots my entire life. Hua-ge, why are you crying? The wind's strong. Got sand in my eyes. Let me blow it out for you. My mom used to do that for me. Get lost. So, where are we going now? Grab the officers' phones and follow me. Unlock my cuffs first. It's hard to punch with these on. No way. I'm afraid you might accidentally kill me. I'd never hurt you. Hua-ge, wait for me. Why are you walking through the field? You're stepping on the rice seedlings. The night wind blew, but it didn't feel that cold. We finally crossed the field and climbed up to the rural road. My arm hurt so much it was numb, and my face had gone pale. The horizon was beginning to lighten, and roosters were crowing from all directions. Fei-Zai's blood had dried. He looked at the scattered, dilapidated farmhouses and the early rising farmers with their hoes. As the farmers stared at us in shock, Fei-Zai asked me with a look of wonder, "Hua-ge, does this count as escaping prison?" Thud. A hoe dropped to the ground. I quickly covered Fei-Zai's mouth with my right hand. Finally, we navigated the backroads around the fields and arrived in front of a newly built 2-story farmhouse. The gate of the farmhouse was locked with chains, and everything in the yard was brand new. Even the paint on the walls still emitted a strong odor. The windows of the 2-story building faced a small hill. Fei-Zai and I sat on the hill, staring at the tightly closed windows. The furniture inside the house was also brand new, standing out with unusual splendor in this impoverished village. Hua-ge, are we going to steal from this house? But my mom said stealing is wrong. I couldn't help but laugh. What about fraud? I looked aggrieved. They tricked me and didn't even feed me enough. They called me dumb and beat me up every day. I looked at him amused. Didn't your mom tell you not to trust strangers? A sorrow I'd never seen before crossed Faye's face. My mom, she passed away. I squinted my eyes. What about your dad? My dad's even dumber than me. After my mom died, he accidentally killed himself while chopping wood. I had nowhere to go, so I turned to fraud. As the sky brightened, a middle-aged woman and man emerged from the farmhouse, going around to the backyard to fetch water and wash up. Are we friends? You're my big brother. Then you have to listen to your big brother, right? Of course. I said, looking expectant yet conflicted. Huago, what do you want me to do? You stay here and use the phone to call the police. I exclaimed, call the police. I quickly covered his mouth. You need to turn yourself in and tell them I'm here, that I'm holding a hostage. Make it sound as dramatic as possible, just get them to come. Once they arrive, you turn yourself in. Then we're not escaping anymore. I looked at me, puzzled. Then your arm. Didn't you get beaten up for nothing? Have you ever thought about living without knowing where your next meal is coming from? I shook his head in terror. I nodded in satisfaction. If we escape, that's the kind of life we'll live. But if you do as I say, we can have regular meals. Understand? I nodded, somewhat comprehending. I prepared to find a way to leap from the hill onto the second-floor windowsill. In the window glass on the second floor, I saw the reflection of a girl's back. I picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at the glass. The glass made a crisp sound, and the girl turned her head. I stared at the window, the phone dropping from his hand in amazement. Chao Daowei. She looks even better than on the phone. Through the dawnlight, the girl's empty eyes suddenly flickered. Struggling, she crawled toward the window. She tried to open it, but it seemed to be locked from the inside. She opened her mouth to shout, but I put my finger to my lips. She quieted down, as obedient as ever. With I still gazing at her beauty, I kicked him. Call the police. Then I climbed down the dirt walls surrounding the hill, jumped into the yard, and silently grabbed a knife from the kitchen on the first floor. I quietly went upstairs. The door was locked from the inside, but it was poorly made. I broke it open with a shoulder. Who's there? A man's angry voice shouted from the backyard. Inside, the girl saw me. Her dull face lit up with a smile as she crawled towards me eagerly. One of her legs seemed broken. I knelt down, and she crawled into my arms. Brother. I turned her around to face away from me. She cooperated. Take me away. Don't like it here. She couldn't form complete sentences, only using short words to express her thoughts. With one broken arm and her broken leg, the plan became much more difficult. She needed my support to barely walk, but I had to hold her with one hand and couldn't grip the knife steadily with the other. But time was running out. I held the girl in my arms and whispered, Daowei, let's play a game. Okay, play a game. I placed her left hand over my left hand. Enduring the pain, I made her grip my left hand and adjust the knife's position to her neck. She wasn't afraid of the knife pointing at her throat. You hold onto my hand, don't let the knife fall or you lose. If I win, I get food. Yes. The police car arrived faster than I expected. They might have been searching for us all night. The sirens grew louder and clearer outside. Drop the knife, release the hostage, don't make another mistake. Damn it. My left hand was already in unbearable pain, and sweat beads were uncontrollably dripping from my forehead. The crowd of villagers grew larger and larger, with not just one police car initially, but several arriving later, guns in hand. Honestly, I was a bit afraid. Fatso had already been taken away in a police car, which relieved me. I like fools. They're always obedient. It seemed that the child in my arms was getting tired. The tip of the knife in her hand wavered for a moment, and the police loudspeaker started blaring again. Chao Yuliang, drop the knife. Don't harm anyone. Whatever you want, we'll try our best to fulfill. The middle-aged woman I saw in the yard before was now pounding her chest and stomping on the ground, both angry and panicked. There's no justice anymore. This kidnapper took my daughter and now wants to come back for her. She cried hoarsely, "Give me back my daughter." The middle-aged man also shouted anxiously, "Don't hurt my daughter. Do you want money? We'll give it to you." I fell silent for a moment, feeling a bit dizzy. "I have only 2 requests. First, I want you to gather all the people from the village." "Okay, we promise." The police arranged for the villagers to be called over. "Don't get agitated." To be honest, I wasn't agitated. I felt like fainting. I was exhausted. Originally, nothing would have been so complicated, but all my plans had been disrupted. I had become a fugitive, even holding a hostage. Suddenly, I felt like crying. This isn't a demand. It's just that I want to tell a story. A while back, on a rainy night along the national highway, I stumbled upon a mentally disabled girl. But in the end, I didn't take her to the police station as found. I fled over 1,000 kilometers to evade loan sharks, renting a house in an inconspicuous local area, bringing the girl along. She couldn't bathe herself, but she was terribly dirty, her clothes torn and stained with blood and mud, filling the room with a foul stench. Just because of a moment of confusion, owing debts, I wasn't a villain who preys on the weak. But nonetheless, I was a vigorous 30-year-old man, forced into this situation. I blindfolded myself with a towel, groping like a blind man, and bathed the girl in a daze. But the girl's body wasn't as smooth as I had imagined. It was covered in countless scars, feeling like mottled tree bark to the touch, quite rough. Sensing my touch, the foolish girl instinctively reached out and touched my waist. A shiver ran down my spine, yet the girl skillfully unbuttoned the lower buttons of my navel. I was dumbfounded. This girl, who couldn't even take care of herself, was she really capable of such acts? But my movements were noticeably sluggish due to the honest sensations from my body, even failing to pull my wrist away from her grasp. The soft, fluffy sensation of her palm made me confused. The towel in front of my eyes fell, and the girl stood naked before me. It was a comical scene. The girl skillfully placed my hand on her undulating chest, yet her face remained foolish, looking at me with a silly smile. "Want food?" Suddenly, I felt extremely annoyed. I wrapped the girl in a large towel, turned my back, and said, "Dry yourself, come out, there's food." The consequence of letting the girl wipe herself was that the entire room was filled with water stains. I had no choice but to catch the girl with my eyes closed, wiping her like wiping a table, then tossing her an old dress bought for $5. "Put it on yourself." The only consolation was that the girl could dress herself. But the numerous scars all over her body were horrifying, from her calves to her back, layer upon layer, old and new wounds merging into one. At the time, I only found it terrifying, lamenting the girl's fate, but I didn't take it seriously. At least she could really eat a lot. Sometimes I felt like there was a bottomless pit in her stomach. "Big stomach, won't you feel uncomfortable eating so much?" "No, afraid of starving. Before, couldn't eat enough." "Then, would you like to play a game with me? As long as you listen to me, I'll buy you even more delicious food." "Okay." The big stomach eating show began, and the contrast between the cute appearance of the girl and her enormous appetite actually ignited a craze. I quite liked her being able to eat like that all the time. Thanks to her, I made a lot of money, so I didn't mistreat her. Later on, the live streaming room became more and more popular, and I picked better and better ingredients for her, making her very happy. I never dreamed that this girl would become my cash cow. I actually paid off my loan within a month and made a lot more afterward. It's just that the competition in the live streaming industry became fiercer, and various bizarre live streaming rooms began to emerge, which dampened our popularity. Actually, I was already content. I had earned money that my parents could never have earned in their lifetimes. I could take this money and support my parents in their old age, take Big Stomach to see a doctor. But I didn't expect that not long after, my live streaming room was shut down. Knocking on my door were the police. I was accused by Big Stomach's biological parents of human trafficking. I incredulously looked at her foolish and bewildered face. "Big Stomach, do you really have no family?" She shook her head. We were taken to the police station, and two middle-aged people ran over with tears streaming down their faces, hugging Big Stomach. Big Stomach screamed and cried, running towards me. I crouched down, patting Big Stomach's little head. Big Stomach, do you really have no family? This time, Big Stomach didn't look at me with that foolish look, but her eyes dimmed, and she lowered her head. I do. But I don't want to go back. I want to stay with my brother. Brother is good. Damn it, I was deceived by a fool. Why didn't you say so earlier? I looked at the tears filling Big Stomach's eyes, and at that moment, I felt that maybe she wasn't as foolish as she seemed. I was at a loss for words. Me. I suspect she has been abused for a long time, with many old wounds on her body. Her father. She has had mental problems for years, sometimes uncontrollable, causing injuries all over her body. We were afraid she would run away, so we kept her locked up, leading to inevitable physical conflicts. Me. I didn't traffic her, I even went. Police. Did you report it? Me. I found her, I didn't. Police. The live streaming room was verified under your identity, and the profits gained from Big Stomach were all in your account. Me. She didn't refuse, she enjoyed it. Police. Here's the psychiatric evaluation report. There was one more thing I found out later. During the examination, it was discovered that Big Stomach had genital ulcers and was infected with syphilis. Although there was no direct evidence, the way the police looked at me changed. Well, I had nothing to say. Me. Can I see her one more time? Chao Yuliang, we are aware of everything you've said. You suspect Big Stomach has been abused, and we have conducted an investigation, including questioning the parties involved. However, there is no evidence. The police loudspeaker shouted at me again. I looked around, and almost all the villagers had gathered. I was really about to collapse. I leaned close to Big Stomach's ear. Remember, the secret we agreed on last time. Big Stomach sweetly responded, The weather was beautiful today, with sunlight shining on the fields. I looked at everyone. Today, everyone including the police is present. Every pair of eyes is watching. Big Stomach has an intellectual disability. She may not understand many things, but she will feel fear, and fear makes people want to escape. Now everyone is watching. I want to play a game with Big Stomach. Don't play any tricks. Give me back my daughter. The middle-aged woman was about to rush towards me. Ma'am, please calm down. The police intercepted the middle-aged woman rushing over. This is the last request. After this game, I will seriously serve my sentence and bear all my responsibilities. I lowered my head, and the small body in my arms was trembling. I stroked her hair. Big Stomach, let go. My hand hurts. The little hand loosened, and the knife fell to the ground. Before going to jail, the police finally allowed me to see Big Stomach one last time. Behind a glass partition, her small head hung low. Big Stomach. The police stood beside me, but she ignored me. I glanced at the police, indicating if I could talk to her alone. The police hesitated. 2 minutes. The police stepped back to the door, keeping an eye on us. I coaxed her. Big Stomach, tell brother, who caused those injuries on you. If you tell me, brother can protect you. A hint of fear flickered in Big Stomach's eyes. She whispered, it's them. Who are they? Big Stomach's voice was barely audible, so soft that I had to strain to hear through the receiver. Some of them touched me, hugged me. Some of them hurt me. There are wounds all over. It hurts. And some of them, I'm scared. They wanted to kill me. After I ate their food, my stomach hurt, so I ran. It was pouring rain, and they lost track of me. My heart sank, but I still couldn't figure out who they were. I held onto a glimmer of hope. Tell the police, they will help you. Big Stomach shook her head in terror. I can't escape. I felt desperate. Then how can you speak up to protect yourself? As long as you speak up, I might. Forget it. A small voice came through the receiver suddenly. Brother, take me away and I'll talk. There was hope. I lowered my voice. Big Stomach, brother will come to pick you up in a while. When that happens, you must speak up, otherwise, I won't take you away. Okay, take me away. This is our secret. No one can tell anyone. Zhao Yuliang, what are you trying to do? Supporting Big Stomach, we walked towards the villagers in a ludicrous manner, with the police cautiously moving closer. All the villagers stood before us, forming a large circle. I had thought of many ways to get Big Stomach to point out the culprits, to make a mentally disabled person's words more convincing. After much thought, it seemed like this was the only way. Big Stomach might not say their names, but she might recognize their faces. Although Big Stomach's words wouldn't be trusted, at least more police officers needed to witness it. But I had never thought about escaping. I just thought that in this field and on these mountain roads, where the night visibility was poor, I was more familiar, and I had a better chance of escaping here and leading the police here. But now, saying all this seemed meaningless. Facing Big Stomach and everyone else. Big Stomach, brother is asking you, who hurt you so badly? Isn't this nonsense? She's a simpleton. What does she know? The middle-aged man was about to rush forward to grab Big Stomach, but was stopped by the police. Big Stomach trembled all over, unable to speak in the silence of the crowd. I'm telling you, this is nonsense. Who would bully her? Everyone in the village treats her so well. The middle-aged woman raised her voice. Yeah, Big Stomach has made it big now. She's the big internet celebrity of our whole village. The villagers also joined in the commotion. What does an outsider like him know? Big Stomach froze, her small hand clenched into a fist, and her mouth tightly closed. The police were about to come forward and take me away. Still, she remained silent. I felt disappointed, but more than that, I felt sad. Big Stomach, are you trying to deceive brother again? Then brother won't take you away. No response. I really wanted to collapse right now. What the hell was I doing? Why did I make a promise with a mentally disabled person? Forget it. I wanted to let go of her hand. Him, them. A childish voice came, and warmth emanated from her wrist, Big Stomach's tears. I looked up, and Big Stomach's small hand was trembling, pointing at each face, looking at each one seriously, going back and forth, pointing for more than 10 minutes. 10 yuan, need 10 yuan. Still, can get food. Big Stomach, who made it so you couldn't walk properly? Big Stomach looked at me and then pointed to her father. The middle-aged man seemed anxious, pushing me aside even before the police could stop him. We both fell to the ground, but I felt extremely relieved. Big Stomach crawled to my side in fear, and the police finally took the man away. With one arm around Big Stomach, I patted her shoulder. One last question. That rainy day, who gave you food that made your stomach hurt? I couldn't feel the noise around me anymore. I was too exhausted, and my arm hurt too much. But Big Stomach's accusation seemed to astonish the dozens of police officers present. Big Stomach imitated someone else's tone of voice. Can't touch anymore. Worthless thing. Crazy and useless. What to do if it comes back? Dead, I'll kill it. I was stunned, and I opened my eyes. Those small hands pointed at a man and a woman, her biological parents in the legal sense. A silly smile spread across Big Stomach's face, her naive eyes filled with bright anticipation, looking at me. Brother. I told them everything. Big Stomach, you're amazing. I turned my head, no longer looking into her eyes, and collapsed on the ground. It's over, come on, take me back. As the police escorted me to the car, Big Stomach was held tightly by a female officer. Because this silly girl kept trying to crawl towards me, she kept scolding me as she crawled. Brother, liar. I was very fortunate that her leg was broken, otherwise, she could run quite fast. I didn't have the right to look back, I just shed tears like a crocodile. I wasn't a genuinely good person to her. I didn't deserve her trust in me. Later, after being guarded around the clock by 4 prison guards for 7 days in the hospital ward, I returned to prison with my disability. I didn't know if I should praise Fatso. His attack was brutal, but he left me with my right hand, allowing me to live independently. There was a new gleam in Fatso's eyes when he saw me return. Brother Hua, I missed you so much. Don't say that again in the future. Honestly, it felt a bit greasy, 2 grown men. Fatso was pleased with my praise, Brother Hua, how did I do with the tasks you gave me? I patted his shoulder with my right hand. Great. There was a flower in the wash basin on the windowsill, casually plucked by me and placed inside. Because I liked flowers, especially in a place as lifeless as this, a flower was needed more than ever. But the people here mocked me as effeminate, calling me flower girl. Fatso looked at the flower with pride and said to me, Brother Hua, I'm taking care of your things for you. I smiled. Brother Hua, I'm not that dumb, am I? You're not dumb. You're very smart. Fatso beamed. Brother Hua, I can't believe you know big stomach. You're such a capable person. How did you end up in jail? My name is Xiao Yuliang, and I'm 31 years old. I used to be the pride of our village. I was the only university student to emerge from that remote and impoverished region. But, true to my name, there was no surplus grain in my family. We were very poor, so poor that my only dream in life was to make money, lots and lots of money. I had a decent job once, with a monthly salary of a few thousand yuan and stable benefits. But it wasn't enough for me. On the other hand, I couldn't accept becoming increasingly mediocre after leaving my impoverished hometown. I was meant for greater things, the hope of the whole village. So, I quit my job. With the introduction of a friend, I took out loans to invest in business. But in my eagerness for success and my arrogance, I encountered a downturn in the market and lost everything. With hundreds of thousands of yuan in debt weighing on me, I was disheartened, even considering suicide to end it all. But my last shred of conscience reminded me that I still had my parents, so I tried every possible means to fill the hole. Yet, I shouldn't have, under any circumstances, resorted to gambling to repay my debts. That rainy night on the road was simply a chance encounter between a desperate fugitive and a foolish girl, pursued by loan sharks to my doorstep. But in the dissipating mist of that rainy night, memories of my village unexpectedly resurfaced in my mind. Suddenly, I remembered how, in a similarly impoverished and remote village, at the age of 6, I had mimicked others and thrown stones at a foolish girl. People, truly, are unfathomably foolish.